Good morning, everyone. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like life handed you a situation so unfair, so overwhelming that you couldn't see a way forward? Perhaps it's heartbreak, failure, or a dream that seems out of reach. I've been there, and I know this room is filled with stories just like that. But let me tell you this, the most beautiful things in life often come from the most difficult struggles. What if I told you that the very thing you see as your greatest obstacle could become the foundation of a life you never imagined? Today I want to talk about finding hope through faith, a hope so powerful that it transforms not only the way we see ourselves, but also the way we live. And by the end of our time together, I promise you won't just hear about hope. You'll feel it, you'll carry it, and you'll know you're stronger than you ever believed. Life is full of challenges, and how we perceive them shapes everything. Imagine this: two people face the same storm. One sees destruction while the other sees an opportunity to rebuild something even stronger. It's not the storm that makes the difference, it's the perspective. Faith is the key to unlocking that perspective, offering a way to see beyond the immediate pain and chaos to the beauty of what could be. We often get trapped in the why me mindset when life doesn't go our way. But what if we flip the script? What if we ask, what can this teach me? How can I grow through this? Faith shifts the focus. It takes the attention away from what's been lost and places it on what is yet to come. It transforms setbacks into setups for something greater. When you view your challenges through the lens of faith, even the hardest trials begin to carry a sense of purpose. Faith also helps us redefine success. The world may tell you that success is about wealth, status, or perfection. But through faith, you learn that true success is about character, resilience, and love. It's about how you rise after the fall, how you trust when the path is unclear, and how you hold on to hope when hope seems impossible. Faith reminds us that even when we don't understand the why behind our struggles, there's a bigger picture unfolding, one that we may not see yet but can trust is leading to something beautiful. This isn't just about positive thinking, it's about grounding yourself in something greater than yourself. It's about believing that every moment, no matter how hard, is part of a divine plan. With faith, you can face life's battles not as a victim, but as a victor, knowing that what you're going through has the potential to bring you closer to your purpose. When you shift your perspective, you also shift your power. Suddenly, your challenges no longer define you. Instead, they refine you. They become the tools that shape you into a stronger, wiser, and more compassionate person. You start to see the beauty in the process. Even when it's painful, faith gives you the courage to take one step at a time, trusting that each step matters, even when you can't see the whole staircase. And here's the most incredible part. When you live with this perspective, you don't just change your own life, you inspire others. Your story of perseverance and hope becomes a light for those still struggling in the dark. Faith isn't just personal, it's powerful. It creates ripples that touch the lives of everyone around you. So when life feels impossible, remember this: perspective is everything. Faith doesn't always change the situation, but it changes you. It allows you to see the world through a lens of hope, purpose, and possibility. And when you choose to see life that way, even the toughest storms become the most meaningful chapters of your journey. In a world that celebrates boundless ambition and endless possibilities, limitations are often seen as burdens, obstacles that hold us back. But what if limitations were not barriers to success, but invitations to discover something deeper, something transformative? Faith teaches us that our limitations are not the end of the story. They are the beginning of a new kind of journey, one where we uncover purpose, resilience, and the beauty of relying on something greater than ourselves. Limitations force us to confront our humanity. They remind us that we are not infinite, that we cannot do everything, and that's okay. Faith steps in to show us that our worth isn't measured by what we achieve or how far we can stretch. Instead, it's rooted in who we are and the unique purpose we are called to fulfill. When we embrace our limitations, we begin to see them not as weaknesses, but as tools that shape us, refine us, and draw us closer to our true potential. Think about it. If you never encountered limits, you might never discover your creativity, perseverance, or reliance on others. It's often in the moments when we feel constrained that we tap into untapped wells of strength and innovation. Faith transforms the narrative of limitation into one of opportunity. It whispers, this is not the end, this is the start of something extraordinary. Our limitations also teach us humility. They strip away the illusion that we are entirely in control, reminding us that we need others and ultimately we need God. In our culture of self-reliance, this can feel uncomfortable, even frustrating. But faith reframes it as a gift. When we stop trying to carry everything on our shoulders, we open ourselves to the help and support that was there all along. We learn to trust in a power greater than ourselves, to lean into grace when our own strength runs out. More importantly, limitations guide us toward our true purpose. Sometimes the very things we think disqualify us from making an impact are the things that uniquely equip us to make a difference. Your challenges, your perceived weaknesses, they are often the tools God uses to work through you. Faith shows us that our lives are not random, they are intentional, and every limitation is part of a larger story, one where even the hardest moments carry meaning. When we stop fighting against our limitations and start embracing them, something amazing happens. We begin to live with more gratitude, more courage, and more purpose. We stop measuring ourselves against an impossible standard and start focusing on what really matters: love, kindness, and the impact we can make in the lives of others. The truth is, we don't need to be perfect to live meaningful lives. In fact, it's often in our imperfection that we find connection and purpose. Faith reminds us that our worth is not tied to our abilities, but to the simple fact that we are here, created with a unique and valuable purpose. Our limitations don't define us, they refine us, making us stronger, more compassionate, and more attuned to the beauty of life. Despair can feel like an unyielding weight, a shadow that darkens every part of life. It whispers lies into our hearts, convincing us that hope is out of reach and that we are alone in our struggles. But faith has the power to shatter those lies, to pierce through the darkness with a light so brilliant that even the deepest despair cannot withstand it. It's not about ignoring the pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about discovering a hope that anchors us even in the fiercest storms. Despair often arises when we lose sight of purpose, when life's hardships seem meaningless and we can't see a way forward. In those moments, faith offers an alternative perspective, reminds us that no matter how lost we feel, we are never abandoned. There is a greater story being written, one where our pain has meaning and our struggles have a purpose. Faith doesn't eliminate the challenges, but it transforms how we face them. It gives us the courage to keep going, even when every step feels impossible. One of the most profound truths faith reveals is that we are not alone. In our darkest moments, when despair convinces us that no one understands, faith assures us that we are seen, loved, and held. It connects us to a source of strength far beyond our own, a strength that carries us when we can no longer carry ourselves. This connection is not just comforting, it's empowering. It allows us to rise, not because we are strong, but because we are supported by a strength that never fails. Despair thrives on isolation, but faith calls us into community. It reminds us that we are part of something larger than ourselves, that our struggles are not unique but shared. When we open our hearts to others, we find that their stories of overcoming can rekindle our hope. And as we share our own struggles, we begin to see how even our pain can be a source of encouragement for others. Faith transforms despair from a lonely battle into a shared journey where hope and healing flow freely. Overcoming despair also requires us to shift our focus. Despair fixates on what is lost, what is broken, what is missing. Faith redirects our attention to what remains, to the blessings still present in our lives, however small they may seem. Gratitude becomes a lifeline, pulling us out of the depths of despair and reminding us that even in our suffering, there is beauty, there is love, there is hope. Perhaps the most powerful aspect of faith is its ability to transform despair into a catalyst for growth. It doesn't just help us endure our pain, it helps us find purpose in it. Through faith, we come to see our struggles not as meaningless, but as opportunities to grow stronger, more compassionate, and more attuned to the needs of others. Despair, when met with faith, becomes the soil in which resilience and hope take root. No matter how overwhelming despair may feel, it is never the end of the story. Faith whispers that there is more, that beyond the darkness lies a light so radiant it will make every tear, every struggle, every moment of pain worthwhile. It invites us to trust that the story of our lives is still unfolding and that the best chapters are yet to come. Faith is not a passive belief that exists quietly in the background of our lives. It is an active, powerful force that propels us to take action, even when the way forward seems uncertain. Many of us have heard the phrase, faith without works is dead. And while it may sound simple, it's a profound truth that challenges us to move beyond just believing. Faith invites us to step out, to take bold actions based on the belief that something greater than ourselves is guiding us. It's about trusting that even when we don't know how the story will unfold, the very act of stepping forward in faith is part of God's plan for us. Faith in action is a daily choice. It means getting up each morning and deciding, despite the challenges we may face, that we will move forward with trust and courage. It doesn't require us to have all the answers, but it does demand that we make the first step, even if it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. It's about choosing to act with integrity, love, and hope, even in situations where fear might otherwise paralyze us. Faith becomes the driving force that encourages us to serve others, speak truth, and give of ourselves, knowing that each act, no matter how small, carries significance. Faith in action also means surrendering our need to control every outcome. It's about understanding that we may not always see the immediate results of our efforts, but we trust that our actions are contributing to a greater good. We often want to see immediate change, immediate reward, but faith reminds us that the journey is as important as the destination. The seeds we plant today may take time to grow, but in faith we trust that they are taking root and the harvest will come in its due time. One of the most transformative aspects of faith in action is its power to break down the barriers of fear and self-doubt. When we step out in faith, we are choosing to act in spite of our uncertainties. It is a powerful act of courage that tells us, I may not know what lies ahead, but I trust that I am not walking alone. Each step of faith, each action taken builds our confidence and trust in both ourselves and in the divine power that guides us. It's through action that we truly experience God's faithfulness, and in turn, our own faith grows. Living faith out in action also involves embracing opportunities to serve others. Often our own struggles create the very empathy we need to make a difference in someone else's life. Faith in action means using our own challenges, our experiences, and our resources to help those around us. It's about recognizing that service is not just about what we give, but also about what we receive in return. Every act of kindness, every moment spent lifting someone else up fills our own hearts with purpose and meaning. Faith in action is about building a life that reflects the love, hope, and trust that we claim to believe. It's more than words, it's a lifestyle, a movement, a journey that demands involvement. It's not always easy and it's often uncomfortable, but it's always worth it. Because when we move in faith, we are living out the very purpose for which we were created, to impact the world around us and to demonstrate the transformative power of faith that is alive, active, and ever present. Each of us carries a story, a narrative shaped by the triumphs, failures, joys, and heart touches that have marked our journey. Our lives are not just a series of events, they are living testimonies, speaking volumes about the strength of the human spirit and the power of faith. When we face challenges with grace, when we rise above the difficulties of life, our testimony becomes a powerful tool for inspiring others. It's not about perfection or having it all together. It's about showing the world that no matter how hard life gets, there is always a reason to keep moving forward. Always a light to follow. And always hope to share. Living a testimony doesn't require us to be famous or well known. It simply means living authentically, allowing others to see the real, unpolished version of ourselves. When we choose to share our struggles, our vulnerability, and our victories, we invite others into our story. And through that invitation, they see how faith carries us through even the darkest times. Your story, your testimony has the power to touch lives in ways that words alone cannot. It can offer hope to someone on the brink of despair, encouragement to someone who feels defeated, and a reminder to someone who's lost their way. We often underestimate the impact of our daily actions. The simple decisions we make, the way we treat others, and the way we respond to challenges speak louder than any sermon or speech. Every act of kindness, every moment of patience, every step we take in faith becomes part of our testimony. It's not the grand gestures that truly define us, but the consistency in our choices to act with love and integrity. When others see us living our truth, choosing hope over despair, faith over fear, they are inspired to do the same. Our testimony doesn't just inspire others, it transforms them. Sometimes we feel like we need to have everything figured out before we can share our testimony. But the truth is, your testimony isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. It's about showing others that it's okay to stumble, to fall, and to struggle. Faith isn't about never having doubts. It's about continuing to trust, even in the midst of uncertainty. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we give others permission to do the same. We break down the walls that separate us, creating a community of hope and understanding. Living a testimony also means recognizing the sacredness in every part of our journey. Even the pain and hardship we face can be transformed into a source of strength. It's through the hardest moments that we often find our true purpose and deepest faith. When we choose to view our struggles as opportunities for growth, they become integral to the story we are living. Our testimony is not just about the victories, but about the resilience we show in the face of adversity. It's a testament to God's faithfulness, even when we can't see the bigger picture. Ultimately, living a testimony is about living with purpose and intention. It's about knowing that our lives matter, that our stories have significance, and that through our choices we can inspire others to find their own strength and faith. Every day we are writing a story, and the way we live, the way we love, the way we overcome challenges, this is the story that will stay with people long after we're gone. So live your testimony boldly, share it freely. Let your life be a beacon of hope and a reminder that no matter what we go through, we are never alone. Many of us grow up believing that life is full of boundaries, limitations that define what we can and cannot do. Society often teaches us that our potential is shaped by the circumstances we're born into, the resources available to us, or the skills we possess. But faith opens our eyes to a different reality, a reality where we are not defined by the limits that the world imposes on us, but by the limitless possibilities that exist through faith. It tells us that no matter how impossible something may seem, there is always a way forward. And with faith, even the most daunting obstacles can become opportunities for growth and transformation. A life without limits begins with a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing ourselves as confined by what we lack, faith teaches us to see the abundance of possibilities that surround us. Every challenge, every setback is not a dead end, but a chance to discover new strengths, new solutions, and new paths. Faith allows us to embrace uncertainty and take bold risks, knowing that even if we fall, we are not alone and we are stronger for having tried. It is through faith that we can transcend the limits that others might place on us and discover the vastness of our potential. Faith doesn't just help us overcome external obstacles, it also helps us break free from the limits we impose on ourselves. How often do we hold ourselves back, believing that we're not smart enough, strong enough, or capable enough to achieve something great? But faith says otherwise. It teaches us that we are more than enough, that we are uniquely equipped for the challenges we face, and that when we align our actions with our purpose, we can achieve things we never thought possible. In fact, some of the greatest accomplishments come from the moments when we choose to take that first step, even when we feel completely unqualified. Living a life without limits means moving beyond fear. Fear is often the biggest barrier between us and the life we are meant to lead. It tells us to stay small, to avoid risks, and to play it safe. But faith empowers us to move forward despite our fears. It reminds us that fear does not have to be a roadblock. It can be a signal that we are stepping into something new, something greater. With faith, we can face fear head on, knowing that it doesn't have the power to hold us back. In fact, it is through overcoming fear that we begin to unlock our full potential. A life without limits also means being open to change. Often we become attached to a certain version of ourselves, a specific path, or a predetermined idea of success. But faith challenges us to let go of rigid expectations and to trust that change can be a good thing. Sometimes life doesn't go as planned, but that's not a reason to give up. It's an invitation to grow, to adapt, and to evolve into something even better than we imagined. Faith helps us to view change not as loss, but as an opportunity for renewal. Ultimately, a life without limits is a life of purpose, a life in which we align our actions with our faith and trust that every step we take, no matter how uncertain, is leading us towards something greater. It is a life where we are free from the shackles of fear, doubt, and limitations, and instead we embrace the infinite potential that faith reveals. We begin to understand that we are not bound by the world's expectations, but by the divine calling to live fully, to love deeply, and to impact the world in ways that only we can. A life without limits isn't about being free from difficulty or hardship. It's about knowing that no matter what challenges we face, we can rise above them with the strength, courage, and guidance that faith provides.